to all. I'm Esther Buerki, the passionate creator behind the book Living Without Fear, which has touched many lives, and the co-creator of the Amazon best-selling Inspired Journeys. If you're eager to explore a world of endless possibilities, you've come to the right place. Know someone who could use a dose of inspiration from today's episode? Feel free to share this podcast with them. And don't forget to stay updated by subscribing to my newsletter, joining me on YouTube, and if you found value in what you heard, kindly leave a brief review or rate it on your preferred podcast platform with a sprinkle of stars. Your unwavering support truly warms my heart, and I'm deeply appreciative of each and every one of you. Thank you for being here. And today I'd like to talk about old triggers and how I deal with them. For some time, I was wondering why my younger son, who is now 18 years old, made me feel bad when he was talking to me with a toneless voice. Very often, it changed again after a while talking to him, and I could establish a sort of connection with him, and I felt better. But in the last week, he was so stressed out because of school, the exams, which will be soon starting, and he needed to finish 2 other small IT projects at the last minute. I felt so sorry for him because in the past he has handled the school stress very well. But I guess in the last month of high school, the stress level and the expectations by the teachers went up. What made me really happy, although, was that my son spent a lot of time with his girlfriend at the end of the week. And when he came home, he spoke with a bit more enthusiasm as usual. He told me what they have done together, where they went, what they cooked together at her house, etc., etc. I was so pleased to hear joy and happiness in his voice. But later, when we talked again, he used again his toneless voice. There wasn't any sign of emotion in it. I don't know if you know what I mean and if I described it well enough so that you can relate to it and maybe remember that you've encountered this as well with someone else. Well, I thought, sitting at the table with my son and eating together, Esther, don't take it personally. Just listen, speak or don't speak, and do as if it was all normal. No worries at all. It will pass. Also, this shall pass. And we finished lunch together, and he went again to his room, and I felt good. Later that day, I called my soon 90-year-old parents to see how they went, as I do it since a few months every day. My mother took the phone, what is rather unusual, but my father had been busy with preparing their 4 o'clock tea. She didn't say anything but hello, and then waited until I asked her how she went. "It's not going well at all," she responded with her toneless voice. But this is her. She cannot see anything positive in her life. Although that day she managed to get up and go down into the living room where she waited now for the tea and my father. So there would have been progress compared to the day before, where she stayed in bed the whole day, but she couldn't see it. Actually, it is easier for me to talk to my father because he's able to laugh or make a joke from time to time. When I finally hung up the phone after having had the news of the day by my father, I started reflecting on my mother's tone of voice. And I suddenly realized that my younger son triggers a lot of those old feelings from my childhood when he talks to me without any emotions. I suddenly remembered that when I left the house for school or when I came home from school and when my mother was in a depressed state or suffering from some headache or stomach ache, she talked to me the same way she talked on the phone or the same way my younger son does sometimes. There weren't any emotions in my mother's voice. She just talked so that she could say some sentences to me, but she didn't feel any connection with me. She was at a total different place, a place which was far away. And I guess she felt in this victim state. She hated herself and the world, as I did in the past as well. My mother couldn't feel any empathy for herself and for me as a child, totally disconnected from everything. And you can imagine how I felt as a child. I felt it must be my fault that she talks like this. Something must be wrong with me. I'm not good enough. I don't do enough for her that she feels this way. Do you relate to this kind of situation? Have you been there as well? Maybe with another parent or adult? If you're constantly feeling it's your fault, you're not good enough, this not good enoughness gets engraved in you more and more. And the older you get, you take it with you and it stays. It stays for years and years, as it did with me. And if you don't work on it, do you know what I mean? And whenever you encounter someone who talks the same way as your mother or father talked to you, it triggers you. You start feeling the same way as in your childhood. The drama gets repeated over and over again. But what can you do? What did I do with my son? First and foremost, it is so helpful to recognize this trigger pattern. If you can localize the feeling where it started, you have won already half of the way. Second, it's important to tell yourself, this is an old feeling, and this little girl or boy in yourself was very hurt at that time. It didn't get any love she would have needed so much. But now, years later, you can be the loving mother to this little girl in you, to this part who has so many scars from back then. You can heal your drama by telling yourself today, you're not alone. You have this adult you who is with you, who sees you, who knows that you're enough, that you're doing enough, and you don't have to work hard to get the love from others. By telling yourself these sentences, you can heal yourself step by step from all those emotional injuries from your childhood. And it is a process which doesn't stop. It is a path you take until you leave this world. Of course, the biggest scars can disappear by the time that you get older, but it isn't excluded that one day you feel triggered again. But the most important thing is that you know how you can comfort yourself. Because sometimes there isn't any other person who can help you right away. And if you can start comforting yourself, your emotional injuries don't feel so heavy anymore. I hope this episode helped you to become aware of what triggers you and how you can console yourself. If you want to get coached on this topic, book a call with me. Use the coupon code TRANSFORMNOW to get a free discovery call. I also love to hear what you've learned. Please share your thoughts on Instagram or YouTube. Thank you, dear listener, for spending your precious time with me and being open to change. And I cannot repeat it enough. In case you still feel worthless and nobody seems to like you, I tell you, you're amazing. I love you. And you are a gift to everyone who crosses your path. And please remember these sentences over and over again. Have an amazing day and talk to you next week.